We are getting a news alert on China and some hacks of U.S. agencies. Let's get to Eamon Javers. Hey, Eamon.
What you're suggesting is everything possible under the sun.
Department of Justice and the FBI have taken action to shut down what looks to be a large botnet of Internet of Things devices operated by a Chinese entity on behalf of the Chinese government, targeting U.S. government agencies, including the Federal Reserve. They're saying here that this large botnet was operated by hackers who were working for a Chinese company called Nanjing Jinjuwei Network Technology Company, and they were targeting the Federal Reserve, NASA, the Department of Energy, Department of Justice, Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health, and the U.S. Senate. It's a little bit difficult to sort of gauge how serious this series of attacks was, because the press release is obviously not giving us any detail on what exactly the Chinese were able to steal using this hacking technology that they put together. And of course, we don't know if this botnet is one of 10 botnets that the Chinese operate or one of 1,000 that the Chinese operate. We do know, of course, that the Federal Reserve itself has been the target of fairly intense Chinese espionage activity over the past several years. And so it may be no surprise that the Fed is on this list of entities targeted by this Chinese cyber espionage operation. But the U.S. government saying that for now, they have taken steps to take this operation down. Guys, back over to you.
That's pretty serious. I'm Digital Asset Guy, your host, and that is coverage of this hack that's going on. I don't know much about it, but what I do know is that if these entities operated on blockchains, I don't know that it would have prevented it, but it would have made it much more difficult for them to be hacked. Like, listen, I'm gonna ask AI really quick about it. So this hack going on right now with a Chinese state-sponsored hacking group that tried to infiltrate like the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Senate, DOJ, NASA. You know about that, right?
Let me check the latest. Yep. Just today, the DOJ and FBI said they disrupted a China-linked hacking network that targeted those exact agencies. If you're explaining it on YouTube, I'd say this wasn't a blockchain problem.
Right, I am. So listen, tell us briefly, how could blockchain have made it more difficult for this hacking group to do what they did?
It wouldn't have stopped the break-in, but it can make logs tamper evident and strengthen identity checks, basically making it harder to cover their tracks or fake access.
Yeah, well, so there you have it. Maybe wouldn't have prevented it, but blockchains are much more sophisticated than, just centralized entities, technology they use now. So just something to think about. Here's more coverage on it.
This morning, the Justice Department says it has shut down a key element of a Chinese state-sponsored hacking group. Court documents say that China-based group QTFY used sophisticated hacking tools to target NASA, the Federal Reserve, the Department of Energy, and other critical infrastructure networks. But now, U.S. authorities are cracking down. Here to talk about it this morning for us is the Attorney General of the United States, Todd Blanche. He's the man in charge of this operation to shut it down. Mr. Attorney General, great to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good to be here.
Was reading through your release on this. So this Chinese-sponsored group, QTFY, you guys discovered they had done malicious hacks against a bunch of U.S. government agencies, NASA, Federal Reserve, DOJ, the U.S. Senate. You're seizing some of their domains and servers. Do you guys have any idea what were these hackers looking for? What were they trying to get?
Well, yes. I mean, they were trying to infiltrate not only some of our key infrastructure, like you just described, but hospital systems and healthcare centers. And this is something that's been happening for many years. And in this case, this was sponsored. This is state-sponsored, and this is a major national security issue for the United States. And so the work that we did over the past several months, bringing this to a stop, is something that the FBI and our great prosecutors in California have worked very hard on. The big part of this that I want people to understand is we not only stopped this, but we have shared with the private sector the way that they were doing this, the way that these hackers were getting access and their codes. And so the goal there is to motivate and to use some of the really smart people here in the private sector to stop it from happening again. It's not as if by us doing this, that they're going to walk away and not try again. They're going to reload and try to come at us again. And so this is a fight that we're going to continue to have. But this is a great job done by the FBI and National Security Division here at Main Justice, and then the Southern District of California U.S. Attorney's Office.
Very interesting. So I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs of this, but it seems like to me blockchains are much harder to hack, and there can't be changes to the code as easy because it's so sophisticated. Here's some more big news today. Japan officially moves to put its $8 trillion government bond market on blockchain. The Financial Services Agency, Ministry of Finance, Bank of Japan, and the country's 3 megabanks are building a system for instant 24/7 settlement of stocks and government bonds per Nikkei. I don't really know how to say that. Nikkei, I don't know. JP Morgan and BlackRock Japan are already testing rival blockchain settlement systems for the same market. This comes weeks after Japan ended its 4-year crypto freeze and moved to treat digital assets as financial products. So that sounds pretty interesting, but yeah, I think really blockchain technology, it's the way that it's going to be used. It's not necessarily just how we're investing in crypto right now, but it's going to be the actual utility, kind of like social media. In the beginning, people said, oh, I don't want to buy stock in that because it doesn't do anything. It's all these people just getting on and talking nonsense and posting pictures that are just going to, get them robbed or whatever. And people didn't understand the utility, how businesses were going to use Facebook pages and advertisers were going to advertise on it. And it was going to make communication easier and things like that. That's kind of how I think blockchain will be for information efficiency, things like that, and also the Internet of Value. So, all right, go ahead and enjoy that intro. We'll see you back here in a couple seconds. So I think it's kind of exciting that you have a brand new asset class. Welcome back. I'm the Digital Asset Guy, and here's the crypto market. Bitcoin at $78,724. Looking good. Ethereum, $2,500, just shy. BNB, $700. XRP, $1.40. I'm honestly surprised we haven't had more of a pullback. Stable coins are holding at $1. Solana just broke $100. Tron, 33 cents. Hyperliquid, $80. Dogecoin, 8 cents and a half. Zcash, 783. Chainlink, $11. Chainlink has been as high as $50. I still think that's a good buy on this, and it's been, people have called it an oracle blockchain where other blockchains use it in order to function. I think Chainlink has a bright future, and I believe the CEO of Chainlink was in the White House at the crypto meeting the other day. Cardano at 20 cents, looking good. XLM, 18 cents. Let's see, World Liberty Finance US dollar is at $1. Litecoin is an old project that I believe will just by default, just because it's been here forever, I think it'll do well. Not financial or investment advice. Remember, nothing that I say is financial or investment advice, just my own personal thoughts, opinions, feelings, philosophies for entertainment and educational purposes only. HBAR sitting at just shy of 8 cents. If we look at this chart, the all-time chart, it's went from 3 cents all the way up to 43 cents and back down, 4 cents all the way up to 35 cents or something. We were over 40 cents in the last bull market, but HBAR, a very good project. Let's check on our VeChain. It was doing really well earlier today. 76. Wow, it's moved up from the late 80s in market cap, and now we are over half a penny exciting. If you're looking for a platform to buy, sell, and hold digital assets, gold and silver, iTrust Capital is the digital asset guy's favorite place. You all know this is where you can hold your crypto inside of an IRA, traditional Roth SEP, or not in an IRA, in a premium custody account where you still only pay a 1% transaction fee. They've got the treasury if you have a business or LLC, things like that. Here's Caleb and Brown, the crypto brokerage. You can call or use the link in the description to get your very own crypto broker. You can call or email, and it is their job to give you financial and investment advice. Speaking of financial and investment advice, Jim Cramer, Dom Kwok, posted this today. Simply incredible. Jim Cramer said, "I sense a monumental day." You know, it's like this reverse Cramer thing. He literally says the opposite of what happens. So earlier, Dom said, "Brace for impact." And Jim Cramer says, "Told you it would be explosive. We are just getting started." You know, and he did not go to college to get stupid. Remember in my last video? Guy cracks me up, and then we had a day that was not monumental. I don't think it was particularly bad, but just not monumental. Oh, look, Dom posted this from the Watcher Guru. Japan to launch blockchain-based system for instant settlement of stocks and government bonds. That's what we looked at before the intro. Interesting stuff. And so here's a funny thing someone made about Jim Cramer. It says, Jim Cramer, whenever an asset starts pumping.
Help me here! I can't stop! Here! I can't stop!
I guess that was on his own show. He actually did that. Guy cracks me up. So I wonder what Jim Cramer would say about the housing market. I'll bet you he would say, like, buy. If I were you and I were a young person, I would be doing everything I could to buy a house because it's a great investment. It's so much better than crypto. Like, I could see him saying that when this is going on. U.S. housing demand has collapsed. U.S. new home sales fell negative 10.5% on the month in July to 607,000 units, the lowest in 6 months and far worse than the negative 1.4% decline expected. Excluding January 2026, this is the lowest level since November 2022. New home sales have now fallen in 3 of the last 4 months and are down negative 6.3%. The Midwest was hit harder, with sales plunging negative 42.7% to 43,000, the lowest since 2012. At the same time, sales in the South, the nation's biggest home buying region, accounted for more than 60% of the total, fell 13% to 383,000 and second lowest level since January. This comes as the 30-year mortgage rate hit 6.81%. Its highest since August 2025, weighing on home buyer demand. The housing market is historically unaffordable right now. That is no surprise to me. I see baby boomers trying to sell mansions, and there's no young people that want them because, number one, a lot of them can't afford them. If they can afford them, they don't want some old mansion that they're going to have to redo. They want to build new builds or something that's totally been rehabbed or something. And the whole thing, it's cheaper to own than rent. That is just not true. It's just not true with the mortgage alone. But then when you add up all of the expenses, and then not to mention, I could not find it mysteriously, but they're talking about the decline of marriage affecting the home buyer market because there's not enough families who need houses. People are staying single, and as I highlight in my content, I try to show the reality. If you watch my content, crypto dating, to me, I feel like it's very clear why people are not wanting to get married, why guys are not wanting to get married, why people are starting to get nervous about their assets being protected, why prenups are a difficult conversation. Watch some of these and it shows the reality. And people, I do not fake these. I mean, it wouldn't be possible. How would I fake all these? You know, and pay the girls to say, you know, this or that. It's just not practical. These are real. And they should speak very, you know, realistically about what's going on and why people are not wanting to get married and things like that. And I believe it directly affects the housing market. So this was funny. I had posted this today. I can't remember what brought it up. Oh, it's not letting me. I posted this in response to something. But anyway, I said the mysterious video that got my old account banned. I'm making a bold move here. This is the video in my YouTube, on my YouTube page. It's a short of the doorman at Trump Tower. And he stopped me when he saw my XRP hat. And I thought I was getting in trouble or something. And he's like, oh man, you invest in XRP? I said, yeah, I do. Do you know about XRP? And he says, I know all about XRP, and goes off. You can watch it here on my YouTube channel. Where is this thing? Where is this silly thing? Right here. You can watch it, only 2,000 views, but the day I posted that on X, the next day I was suspended. For some reason I posted that, but it won't show what I was responding to. Odd. So then this was kind of funny. We've been talking about AI a lot. My AI that I use, I don't know what happened, but it called Scott Bessent. It said Scott Bessemer. And I swear, I mean, why I wouldn't have typed that in. I typed in Scott Bessent, and that's what it did. So it was so embarrassing. All day it showed that. People are probably like, yeah, that's not his name, Dag. Like, what's going on? So I put this. I said, who the F is Scott Bessemer? And then I said, I'm going to somehow punish my AI agent. And then I said, any idea how? And then someone said, let's see, where is it? She says, you got to proofread everything. And I said, ain't nobody got time for that. And I thought that was kind of funny. But so then speaking of AI, I found an interesting clip from CZ Binance talking about AI and crypto.
So I think AI has a lot of use cases. Well, number one is AI, I believe, will completely revamp the user experience, how you interact with blockchain.
UX feels like it's all going to...
It's all going to change, right?
Yeah.
So I think AI has so many different applications that unfortunately this industry happened before AI. So we need to change this industry to an AI-enabled industry, both in terms of apps we're building, product tools, customer support, risk management, risk monitoring, and also AI itself can use blockchain, right? So I think, as I said, tweeted before, the currency for AI is crypto. AI is not going to swipe a card, enter SMS code. That doesn't work for AI. It's going to be crypto. So, and then AI needs a lot of data to train. Today they exhausted the public data, but there's a lot of data we don't capture today. Those data can be captured in a privacy-preserving way using blockchain. But if you give those data to a third-party company, then you can't ensure your own data sovereignty. So capturing of data, it logically should be done on the blockchain. So I think AI.
So that's kind of like what we were talking about in the beginning with this China hacking group, with the U.S. Senate and everything. They probably hacked the U.S. Senate, and they're like the American. I don't know what is going on here. Like, we try to hack the U.S. Senate, and they don't make no sense. Like Nancy Pelosi, or not a Nancy Pelosi, she buy all the stock. But like Elizabeth Warren, like she said that she don't want a crypto because they're too much a criminal. But there's like a no criminal. Like, we don't even use a blockchain, and we criminal, we hacker, and like, why we use blockchain? Because then they're gonna hack in us and stuff. They'd probably hack the U.S. Senate and be like, they don't make no sense, And then Democrats, they say they don't want a President Trump to have his own crypto. And then they basically write a Clarity Act, and then they don't even want to vote on. Like, why we hack U.S. Senate? Anyway, do with that what you will. I just thought I'd do that for y'all. All right, thanks so much. This is going on much too long. Please hit the like button. It's free. Make sure you're subscribed. It's free. Please share this video with anyone who you think would value it. It's word of mouth and direct referrals that help me the most. And if you help me share my content, you will be helping me get just a little closer to doing my dream job, which is talking to all you fine people about crypto all day, every day. I love it. Even if I never get monetized, I will still do these videos because it's what I love to do. And you've really got to love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, you're not going to make it, folks. Seriously. Digital Asset Guy out.